Hey everyone, welcome back to class. Today we're going to switch from what we did last week when we reviewed our values and established our foundational belief system, our biases, the things that we have implicit in our heart, as well as our stereotypes. Now we're going to discuss political ideologies. Before watching this video, you should have gone and done the political ideology survey. If you have not yet done that, you should stop here, go and do your survey, answer the questions, and then come back to this video. Once you're here, I would like you to be prepared to take notes. You're going to want to have a notebook and a pencil. You're going to want to just understand the terms that we cover, as well as just understand what the liberal political ideology is versus the conservative ideology. Okay? So we're going to start with terms to know. The first term that you should know is, what is political ideology? Political ideology is your personal set of ideals, beliefs, and ethical principles that impact your beliefs in politics and government. We're going to start by talking about the realms of political ideology. On the left, we have liberalism. On the right, we have conservative. So we're going to talk about not only the definitions of these, but also examples of how a liberal and a conservative feels about the same issues, so you have a better understanding of where your political ideologies line up. A conservative believes in less government. They believe that government should regulate the lives of Americans less, not more. So they do not want restrictions. They do not want the government to put a lot of rules. They don't necessarily want a lot of codes and things like that. Okay, they believe also that social welfare programs, so if you get WIC, if you get SNAP benefits, anything like that, should be funded by private organizations, not by public entities. So a conservative does not believe that we should have social welfare programs funded by the government. They believe that change should be slow and well thought out. So when you think of the word conservative, we are conserving something. By conserving something, we are keeping it the same. So think in yourself, conservative, the same. Okay? Now, on the other perspective, there are liberals. Liberals believe in a larger government. They believe the government should regulate the lives of Americans more. I think that they believe that the government should be responsible for the collective health and benefit of our society, not just for some. This larger government is made up of social welfare programs to help those in need. So sometimes people don't have families to fall back on, but we need to have a safety net in our system and say, okay, together as a community, we can help support this person. They believe that change should happen quickly and is evidence of progress. I would argue that they believe that change should be based on well thought out studies and projections, so that it shouldn't necessarily happen without thought, but when it's ready to happen, it's time to move. Now, in between those, we have what's called a moderate. Okay, a moderate may take a strong stance on a few issues, but prefer the middle position on most matters. Now, a moderate may hold a fiscal opinion. Maybe fiscal means money, that's economics. They may be fiscally conservative, and yet they may be socially liberal. They may think, of course, we need to have some safety net in our society to catch people that need a little bit of help. They emphasize practical solutions to public issues. Sometimes it's more government interaction, sometimes it's less. So that makes sense. A moderate is right in the middle of this political spectrum. Okay? And on the next page, we're going to see the dynamics of the spectrum. So on the left, when you see blue, that is the color of the Democrats, and that is the liberal. And that is on the left. So if you put your hand right up to the screen right now, your left hand is going to be where it says the left. On the right side is the conservatives. They're considered Republicans, and they have red as their color. In the middle of the spectrum are the moderates. They have aspects of both parties and philosophies that may align with one on certain issues and may align with another on other issues. So we're going to go over some examples of liberal and conservative views. The first thing we're going to deal with is the economy. So fiscal is the economy, okay? And when we talk about fiscal, we're talking about rates and how money is handled. So the economy is all the jobs and how you make money and how you sell things. So we're going to start on the liberal side, where we say a market system in which the government regulates the economy is best, meaning that the government should put requirements that if you're a doctor, you need to have a doctor's license, for example. Or if you are a contractor, you need to understand what potentially could go wrong with the electrical in order to be building things, so that you have at least the correct knowledge to go into that job. Government must protect citizens from the greed of big businesses. Unlike the private sector, the government is motivated by public interest. So rather than leaning toward the higher level money people, they say, yeah, everybody should have a safe environment. Yes, we should follow codes in housing so that some people don't get put into housing that is substandard. Government regulations in all areas of the economy is needed to level the playing field. So a liberal in terms of economy would say, is the potential for a oil spill greater than the benefit of that oil coming into our society? Is that the only way we can get it here? If that oil spilled, would it affect people's drinking water? Would it affect their farming land? Would it affect people in general? So that's the way a liberal looks at things. A conservative on an economic level says, nope, let's go for the free market system. Competitive capitalism, private enterprise creates the greatest opportunity and the highest standards of living for all. So a conservative would say, hey, it's a market economy. I am smart. I have the ability to do this job. I can do it better than anyone else. I should be rewarded for that. And they feel that free markets produce more economic growth, more jobs, and higher standard of living than those systems burdened by excessive government regulation. They're saying, let's not use our government to make these restrictions. Let the buyer beware. Let people decide whether they want to buy something substandard. If they don't know about it, it's not a big deal. So the next one is global warming and climate change. I'm going to try to speed through this because we're trying to keep this under 10 minutes. So for global warming and climate change, a liberal believes that global warming is caused by an increased production of carbon dioxide through the burning of fossil fuels. We learned earlier in Human Geo about fossil fuels. That's oil, that's natural gas, and that's coal. The U.S. is a major contributor to the global warming because it produces 25% of the world's carbon dioxide. Now, we just pulled out of the Paris Accord and we said, oh, we can just continue to do whatever we want. We don't have to follow in these guidelines for the world, as though we could simply isolate ourselves in this world. Proposed laws to reduce carbon emissions in the U.S. are urgently needed and should be enacted immediately to save the planet. Many reputable scientists support this theory. On the other hand, conservatives believe that the change in global temperature is natural over long periods of time. They don't believe that humans have an impact. They don't believe that all of the cars that are driving on the road have an impact. They believe that science has shown that humans can affect permanent change, that it has not shown humans can affect permanent change to the Earth's temperature. Proposed laws to reduce carbon emissions will do nothing to help the environment and will significantly increase the price of goods. And it says many reputable scientists also support this theory. This theory is the current administration's position. Now on healthcare, I think this is an ideal subject to address in the midst of our coronavirus. A liberal supports free or low-cost government-controlled healthcare. There are millions of Americans who cannot afford healthcare and are deprived of this basic right. So every American in a country that it has such abundant resources and such a wealth of everything, every American should have a right to affordable health care. That should not be an area that they're making money on. The government should provide equal health care benefits to all, regardless of their ability to pay. However, a conservative says no. Let's support the competitive free market healthcare system. All Americans already have healthcare access. The debate's who should pay for it. Should the person pay for it, or do I have to pay for somebody else? That free and government-run healthcare programs is called socialized medicine, that they result in a higher cost for everyone receiving the same poor quality health. They believe that healthcare should remain privatized. They believe that if a doctor does a good job and wants to charge more, he should be able to charge more. He shouldn't be forced to live within the realm of that government pay. And they say a free market economy, it shouldn't control healthcare. On taxes, we're going to talk about that liberal believes that taxes are a benefit to the whole. They say higher taxes, primarily for the wealthy and a larger government, is necessary to address the inequality and injustice in society. Government should help the poor and needy using tax dollars from the rich. Support a large government to provide the needs for most people and create equality. Taxes enable the government to create jobs and provide welfare programs to those in need. Government programs are a way of caring to provide for the poor and needy in society. Now, on the other hand, conservatives believe lower taxes and a smaller government with limited power will improve the standard of living for all. They support lower taxes and a smaller government. Lower taxes create more incentive for people to work, save, invest, and engage in entrepreneurial endeavors. Money is best spent by those who earn it, not the government. Government programs encourage people to become dependent and lazy rather than encouraging work and independence. So the problem with a conservative, of course, is that if we don't pay our money in, we don't have good roads. Everybody in society doesn't necessarily benefit when we don't. But they do not feel that people who have been successful should be responsible to carry the burden of others. That is the end of our slideshow today. I'm just going to say I hope you have a good 4 days off. We will be here working on Monday, and I am available at any time by email. You can send me a Schoology message. We can hop on WebEx. We can discuss any of the thoughts that you might have, any of the questions that you have. And I look forward to seeing you all on our live session next week. Remember, it's really important to watch for Schoology updates. All right? Thanks so much.